And I think we are at a good place to get started. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Please keep the chat going. Feel free to share where you're dialing in from, what you're excited to learn about today. I'm very excited for today's presentation. It has been quite a while since we've reconnected with our community. I'm new to the Tessera team. We're very excited to have a big group joining us today to talk through all of our products. I'm going to give a quick overview of what we're up to for our agenda. We'll dive into a few speaker introductions to get started. We'll do that in just a moment. And from there, we'll have a really awesome roundtable around all of our latest and greatest products. Today, we'll be covering the latest with our National Criminal Database. We'll be talking about continuous monitoring, automated criminal records, and a new product offering we're looking at, identity database verification. We will have QA at the end, but we want to keep this interactive. We want to keep it timely. So we ask that you drop questions in the chat or in the QA module that you'll see on screen along the way. So we can make sure that we're getting to your questions as we go. I'm really excited to hear from you. This is a group of your peers, so please feel free to share what's on your mind and questions you have in the chat as we go forward. And then from there, let's go ahead and meet our speakers. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with Jen. Let us know a little bit about your role and what you're excited to share today, which product is most interesting to you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. Jen Hoots, Head of Customer Success. Been around for a little bit, but I think the product that I'm most excited to talk about today, of course, is ACR, or Automated Criminal Records, and Legacy RC Express.
Thanks, Hoots. I just learned your first name is Jen. That's the first time that I ever saw your first name. I'm Mark Slosher, the head of sales. I've been at Tessera for about 6 months now. I am super excited to talk about continuous monitoring.
Wonderful. Very excited to have you both. I'm Morgan Cheney. I'm our new head of marketing here at Tessera. Ultimately, I'll be moderating, making sure questions flow throughout the event. And on screen, we also have Kristen Cook. She's our sales enablement manager. She'll be also online to chat through questions with us on chat as they come up. So just a reminder again to keep things interactive, keep the questions going. We're excited to hear from you. And just a quick overview of how the program's going to work and a little bit of housekeeping. The session's being recorded, so if you do need to drop off early, know that anyone who registered will get the recording and recap next week so that you can replay, read about what we talked about, share across your team if anyone wasn't able to join. We'll also be able to, again, take questions throughout. You won't be able to ask questions out loud, so please lean on those written opportunities as well. And then generally how the program's going to go, we'll be doing a little bit of microphone trading back and forth. Mark will be kind of sharing the high level overview of a lot of the products we're going to unpack. And then Jen will be really giving us that frontline view of how our customers are using our products, as well as some of the ways that we're using them to their most success and how we're really seeing the market adopt them. So you'll hear from all our speakers today and excited to dive in. So what we'll do from here is I'm going to pass it over to Mark. He's going to start with a quick overview of who we are and what we're up to at Tessera, and then we'll jump into each of the product lines. So Mark, we'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Morgan. Excited to kick us off here. So throughout this presentation, what we're going to do, we're going to go into the breadth of coverage that we have to offer to all of you and our partners. From a coverage perspective, really the way to think about us is we're your automated partner. So if the source has the ability to gain access, we want to be able to supply that to you. We want to provide you everything from an entirely automated perspective. So not only are we automated, but there's also humans behind our operation. I think that's really important to note here. So if you think about just like engineers who are constantly making sure that we have the latest sources, the latest up-to-date sources. You know, we have humans across legal and compliance teams, making sure we have the right policies in place, the most up-to-date policies in place. And also we have folks that are across our customer success team, working with many of you who are on this call today, making sure that we have shared goals and really that our partners understand what's happening on the front lines with us, as well as understanding like what their needs are and making sure that they're entirely set up for success. So from a sources perspective, the important thing to keep in mind here is we have over 2,300 direct sources today, and that number is constantly evolving. It spreads across NAC CRIM data, county, as well as driver history. And we're listening to your feedback. We constantly want to know, where are you focused? What are the sources that you're thinking about? So if there's a possibility to actually automate that, we want to be able to do that for you. So for the most part, what we often hear is a lot of partners work in silos oftentimes when they choose their different partners that they have. So they have one partner for this, another for that. And we're hearing more and more that partners want a holistic solution so that they cut down on the processes, the number of folks that they have to talk to. And that's what we're here to do for you. We want to provide you as much sources, as much product as possible, and be their one-stop shop as much as possible. I'm newer to the industry, but I've had over 100 conversations probably at this point. And one of the things that I've heard is really people want high data quality. They also want less vendors and a higher level of support. And that's what we focus on at Tessera, all of those 3 core pillars. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into the specific products that we have. So, I mentioned that we have humans that are constantly updating our sources. Let's drill a little bit further into what that leads to, especially for our NAC CRIM database. We own our own database. Being in control of this data is more important than ever. So our team of over 100 engineers are constantly working to get the most up-to-date data to ensure our partners' data is the highest quality. So we're not sitting back. We're constantly looking to expand, as I mentioned. With those 100 engineers, they want to know where we can help, where we can expand, where we could continue to grow for our partners. And this leads to a coverage map of over 98% of the US population. And we've productized how to integrate that 98% into all of our products. And we have search filters, we have filters that set up for customization. And this is what agile CRAs need and require. Now let's talk a little bit more about the data and the growth that I referred to.
So our favorite topic, right? When it comes to database, freshness and quality. Everybody knows my spiel, where if you start with an inferior product, your end result typically becomes inferior. We here at Tessera, like Mark said, we manage, we own, we maintain our own NAC CRIM database file. The freshness of the data is super important, right? We're constantly adding new data. We are scraping over 4.5 million records every single day. The good news is the frequency of those sources, over 70% of them are updated within a week. Again, it goes back to this freshness. And we'll talk about some additional products like monitoring later on, where this is extremely important, especially to a lot of UCRAs. 70% of our records in the database have full DOBs. We have all felt the pain the past year or so with these sources, these states, these jurisdictions redacting this PII. It kills us. It causes us so much pain because it takes so many more steps for us to verify and validate. So having these DOBs and additional PII, right? Secondary PII addresses, partial DOBs is really helpful. The quality of the results, and we know how important that is we've made some updates. We are constantly listening to our customers, right? It's a pain. Age logic improvements. All of these sources that are redacting these DOBs, there's only an age, there's only a year of birth or a parcel. We've actually implemented some updated age logic where we are looking at the date that is provided, the DOB that's provided, and using that to help reduce those false positives. And then, of course, our custom filters. A lot of you that are already customers and partners with us, you're aware of these filters, but we have over 50 custom filters that will help that balance, the balance that we're all facing of too much noise versus over filtering. So we're able to work with you, and based on your business ops, what is important to you? What types of records do you want to get back? We have PII filters, right? Fuzzy name logic. And then we have record filters. Do you want traffic? Do you not want traffic? Do you want dispositions that are resulted in, non-convictions. We can work with you to help tighten that up. It's across the board. So I'll pass it back over to Mark, and he will start jumping into ACR.
And really quickly before we do, I just wanted to address out loud some of the questions that came through chat. There have been a few of you asking about fingerprinting opportunities. Just wanted to highlight Kristen's mentions back. This does vary from state by state or vary state to state. So if you have questions specifically on that topic, we will be running a poll at the end of the event, which will let you really easily connect with our team. It's kind of our list of folks to talk to first after this event. So if you do want to go through those individually, just raise a hand at the end of the webinar. We'd be happy to talk more about that with each of you. But thank you for all the questions so far. Please keep them coming. And yes, we will pass it back over to Mark. We're going to move into ACR as our next topic.
Awesome. Thank you, Hoots, and thank you, Morgan. We talked about, being your automated partner, and, while it seems simplistic of a term for some, I did want to just cover off of what does it mean to be automated? So we're mimicking a person. We're using technology to do the exact search that a person would do manually. It creates speed, it eliminates human error, just overall data entry errors, which can happen so commonly. I'll use an analogy for you. It's going to be awful, so just follow along with me here. Who here has ever gone to a drive-through window? Awesome. And when you went to that drive-through window, did you get the right order or the wrong order every single time? If you said you never got the wrong order, it probably means that you don't order drive-through very often, because so often you'll get the wrong order because they misheard you, they gave you the wrong bag, and so often that happens. Very similarly, this can happen in the court records process. Someone goes to the court, maybe they provide you back the wrong data. It's why doing things in an automated way is so much more important. It's why drive-through windows are doing touch screens. It's all automated. It's things you used to do manually, and now it's automated. And every single industry has moved along to that because it's so much more efficient. It saves time, it saves speed, and it saves money overall. It's just a much more efficient way to streamline processes. So the lengthy process and the task of deploying court runners into courthouses to manually access public access terminals, using automation, we directly interface with the same public access terminals electronically by bypassing the need for physical presence. So basically, the way to think about this is the same information that you were obtaining manually, you can now eliminate via automated records. It eliminates major pain points and the spellings, data entry errors that occur within court runners, and things that used to take hours, you can accomplish now in minutes. So even court runners use automation for clears on these types of to save on costs. And we're just moving to a world of a much more automated, efficient world, the exact same way the world of drive-thrus are doing as well. And if you like to save time and money, if you don't like to save time and money, we might not be the right partner for you. But if you do, we're here to continue on in this conversation. Passing it back.
Mark mentioned saving time and pain, and most of us will think of federals and the Pacer site at that point. If any of you have ever had to log into Pacer and click and go through those PDFs and dig for any sort of identifiers, we can help. Federals is not necessarily a new product for Tessera in the ACR world. However, we're constantly making enhancements and updates to the federal real-time product. We currently offer both state, district, and a national federal, where we can use your credentials through Pacer or even ours. And it, again, based on what Mark was saying, it just automates the process for you. Again, federals do not have very good PII. Pacer does not provide it. We've put some logic again into place based on the date of birth that you as the CRA are providing to us, the data provider. And we use that date of birth and we'll leverage it to look for the case numbers, any kind of dates that we can to help, again, minimize those false positives. It really helps clean it up and just knock out your clears. We all know the hit rate thankfully, is not too awful high for federals. So it does move that process quickly and inexpensively. You don't have to worry about your whole entire research team digging through those PDFs. I know when I was on research, looking through the PACER documents was one of my favorite things, because you just get sucked in to reading the stories of these federal documents. Another big thing is the source tiers. Some of you are aware of it. Some of you know. Others, we've gone ahead and about a year ago, we went ahead and classified our products, these ACR real-time products. And we classified them based on two sections, the PII that's provided and the record content that's provided. And we built them into tiers, tier 1A, tier 2B, and so on and so forth. And we can provide you with some of those definitions after the call. Let us know if you're interested. But currently we have over 2,600 cores that are considered a tier 1A. And what does that mean? That means that there's full names, full dates of birth on those court records. We also have the lower tiers, tier 3Cs, where you may just get a full name. The value here, which is so misrepresented, and everybody, I think a lot of people forget about, these tiers, these lower tiers, are super helpful in knocking out those clears, automating the process. Move on to the next step. Where is your next process in the background screening? What do your customers need? So we've focused on that. Best part is we have a live interactive map that's available on the portal, on the Tessera website. And if you are a current customer, it will even allow you to see the current products that you're using, and then what the lookalike products are that you're not currently using. So reach out, let us know. We're happy to give you a demo and walk through that. And then, of course, the new source expansions is constant. We keep getting feedback from you guys. Keep it coming, please. Some of the new exciting sources that we've rolled out over the past quarter or so, Pima, Arizona. We have finally added the Superior Court. So now you have both upper and lower for that entire county product. Now you have a full, true Arizona statewide product that you can order. Fairfax Circuit, it's been a pain for a lot of us. Again, similar to Pima, you now have that full county product and a true Virginia statewide that's available. And then another one of my favorites is Bear, Texas. Everybody pronounces it different. Please put in the chat if you disagree with how I'm pronouncing it, but Bear, Texas, again, is PDFs. It's painful. It's time consuming. And we now have a solution for it. Another one that we're working on currently and getting ready to release it, but based on the feedback from you all, is what we're calling search replay. ACR is difficult. It is extremely exhausting to manage this product line. Sources are up, down, not providing the information that we're expecting them to. We run over 10,000 unit tests a day to ensure that these sources and these scrapers are behaving the way they're expected to behave. When a search goes down or a source goes down, you guys have already submitted some searches. There's searches in the queue. What happens to them? They time out. So what we've done is we've created a search replay where you can hit a button and it will automatically resubmit those searches for you while they're just sitting in the queue. You don't have to go into the support desk. You don't have to submit a ticket. You don't have to worry about going back into your internal system and changing the search IDs. We'll make it seamless for you. And I'm going to pass it back to Mark now on continuous.
Yeah, before we do, I'm super excited about Search Replay too. Like you said, Hoots, it's like just one less thing that you have to do from a task management perspective. It's going to make that process so much easier. So thank you for outlining that so well. We did have a quick question about going back to your first piece with federals. Maybe we can answer this, maybe not. If not, Mike, we will get back to you after the event. But Mike was curious about our ability to match an identifier to a possible PACER record. I'm not sure if that's an easy answer or not, Hoots. If not, we can take that offline and get back to Mike one-on-one.
I will definitely get back to Mike one-on-one either way, but if think I'm understanding his question about matching to it. It's still a name match.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how Pacer works. It's still a name match, but we're using the date of birth that you provide to us and using that date, the age range of the applicant, to then minimize those false positives by looking at other dates that are provided from Pacer. So we're not going to return records or hits from Pacer when your applicant was 12 years old or 5 years old, if that makes sense.
Perfect. And then just of note, Bonnie mentioned that she pronounces the Bear, Texas as Bexar or something along those lines. So
I
we're
love
learning
it.
new things today.
I'm
Wonderful.
sort of glad you guys are muted, so you're not all calling me out and correcting me.
We'll
I
take
mean,
all the
between the
feedback
Yankee
on
accent.
city pronunciations. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, we can go ahead. Thank you so much for that overview. And we'll move into continuous monitoring next.
Thank you. I won't give you my New York accent on that one. So most everyone here specializes in pre-employment. How's everyone thinking about post-employment? Feel free to type it in the chat there. There's many industries, including healthcare, trucking, finance, childcare. They require more than just a one-time background check. They have standards, certifications, and they generally just want to keep their workplaces safe. When I think about even like childcare, I have 2 young kids. I also have a crazy dog that just barks all day in the background, but he is 12 years old and blind, so I take it easy on him. So you may have heard him already. But relating to the childcare, we do a one-time background check so many times on childcare providers. They have our young kids all day. How often are we looking and continuously understanding if our kids, who will drive any grown adult insane if anything's actually happening in their life? And that's something that I constantly think about as well, as they drive our kids around. So it's super important from a continuous perspective that we keep the safety going. And more workplaces are thinking about this. And also just from a revenue perspective, in down economies, if you can actually increase the number of searches that you're doing, because it is worthwhile and it is needed, it's definitely a big revenue driver for many organizations as well. And it's a simple way to remain compliant and keep those workplaces safe. In terms of like the continuous checks that we can do today, we could do it across NACRIM, we could do it across individual states, sex offender, security watch list, as well as Department of Corrections and arrests. So it's as simple as just picking the right data you want, adding the name, the date of birth, and the frequency of how often you want to monitor. And then we'll alert you if anything new is detected. It's one of the more popular conversations we're having on a day-to-day basis for both companies that are new, as well as companies that are looking to increase the different product uses that they have across our product suite today. So passing it back over here.
And I wanted to invite people on the chat too. There's almost 100 people on the call today, so I'm sure some of you might be using post-employment opportunities. Would love, if yes, like which industries you found this is most relevant for. Maybe you have clients in a certain space that really love this. Love to just get that fodder going on chat if anyone wants to share. We're curious to learn more about how people might want to use this product as well and what applications make the most sense. So anything you want to share is welcome. But yeah, Jen, we'll pass over to you.
Yeah, and also like based on piggybacking off of what Morgan just said, the continuous monitoring has been up and down in this industry. If you attend PBSA, you have heard it for over a decade. It was a huge deal. People built it. CRAs didn't know how to charge for it. They didn't know how to charge. They didn't know how to, offer it to their customers. Now it's super popular again. And so post-employment is becoming a major risk. We covered a lot earlier about what our database includes. And with continuous monitoring, it's the same. You're still getting those value and those benefits that we talked about earlier. And like Mark said, it's full comprehensive. It's the individual state, the sex offender, the security watch list, or Patriot, the arrest product. Then you have the option to break it out also. If you have a customer that just wants to monitor sex offender, cool, we can do it. If you have somebody that just wants arrest, it's totally available. And then the cadence, right? You can do it from a day to a year. We currently are running 280 million follow-up searches a month. So it's scalable for sure. And we're happy to talk to everybody about it. The hits can be pushed or pulled. And then there's so much more for us to gain, just like you guys are trying to learn and figure out, navigate through the system. We want that feedback from you. DUI and traffic filters, categorization. It's been a good hot topic, and we want to hear more from you guys, especially when it comes to monitoring. Same thing with like the Nat Crim. It's noise. Traffic can be noise. But how many states consider DUIs as traffic? So love to have side conversations, hear that feedback on additional categorization and how we can implement it in the monitoring product.
And we had
And I
one,
think,
go
go ahead.
we have one technical question from the
Oh
chat.
boy.
Not too technical, hopefully. I think it's a quick clarification, but assuming like we're talking about, someone does have a hit come back later after they've already gone through the initial clear, are those updates just shared back via API, I'm assuming, the same way that our data typically connects to other people's platforms, or is there anything unique about how the new hits are communicated that you'd want to speak to, Hoots?
So based on the cadence that you set, you will receive that notification. You'll also receive an email notification, as well as it would be in your queue if it was on the portal, or pushed back through the API of any new records from that subject.
Perfect. Okay. That was an easy one then. Awesome. One additional question while we're on the topic of continuous. Jeff was asking if facial recognition is part of sex offender registries that we're scanning today. I'm not sure if that's also like a yes, no answer, or would be something you'd want to chat about more one-on-one with Jeff.
Yeah, we can chat one-on-one. It's facial recognition is another hot topic, right? The best part is, because of the amount of photos that we do ingest and we do report back to you all from both DOC, arrest, and sex offender. So it's definitely a hot topic. We'd love to hear more on your thoughts on how you feel like implementing that into your business ops, and a product that maybe we can start building out would be valuable to you guys.
Wonderful. All right. We are ready to move on to our last topic for the agenda. Mark, you can kick it off with identity database verification, a new product line we're really excited to get your feedback on.
Thank you. And I told you not to put my ID on there.
Yes. Yeah, represents the suit and tie you wear every day to work.
Yes. With bad jokes. We're super excited about this conversation and to really switch gears a little bit here, move away from the criminal database, and talk about exciting new offering. We talked about quite a bit how we're constantly thinking about innovation from a sources perspective and things like that. But let's talk a little bit more about innovation just from a product perspective. And just so everyone knows, this is hot off the press. So if you don't shoot the CS messengers here if they haven't reached out to you on this yet, because it is brand new, and you're already a client. So we recently rolled out identity database verification, a real tongue twister. It helps us match identity documentation like driver's license, state IDs, and any sort of authoritative data sources, like the DMV that are able to provide these types, and check against these types of sources. So it's a match, no match logic, helps us confirm identities are real, and can be super valuable when you're building out efficiencies into your workflows or background checks. So oftentimes people have just thought, I don't know how I'm gonna use this for background checks, but from like the match, no match logic, it helps out a lot. It ensures that the person's who they say they are. So before you run that full-on background check against someone, just understanding if that person is cleared or not. And this way you don't waste money on running that complete, more expensive full background check, and you end up getting nothing back. So why are we so interested in this topic? And I'd be curious just from in the chat if others are interested in this topic, or this is kind of boring to them. But why we're so interested is we provide CRAs. So we've been dabbling outside of this into the gig economy space. We're creating value by supplementing, all US states. So typically it's been a limited number of states. We're able to supplement all US states due to our relationships with various authoritative sources that we have, as well as the wide net of data that we've talked about quite a bit throughout this presentation already. and we're building upon that and maintaining it to ensure it's the most complete coverage that there is out there. And we're solving a known gap within the marketplace. The product has historically only been available in a number of states. We're now able to offer it with a much wider breadth of coverage across the US. And as we started talking with a lot of our top partners, we're initially thinking, we don't know how many people would actually be interested. We found a good use case for it across the CRA industry overall. And it means, a pre-validation, as I mentioned before, of a check, making sure that this person is who they say they are before you go and do that full background check. And, just like a question for everyone within this chat here is like, how often do you actually run a search and there was a misspelled name or wrong date of birth, coming from an applicant? We talked about the human errors coming from data entry, but what about the human errors from the actual applicants? And identity database verification is an instant way to really avoid that type of situation and start each search with true confidence that you're going to get that right drive-through order. We're going back to drive-throughs here, or should we skip that? You're going to get the right order. And, in combination with all of our other offerings, it really provides the foundation and to a more complete, comprehensive, and the most accurate check that you can possibly do. So not going to go into every single line item here. I could just read all these, but they're all right in front of you. There's a lot of fields that we have at our fingertips now with this product. We can match, no match type of searches for you. As you can tell, we're super, super excited about this. It's like product innovation, continuing to grow and help out our partners based on the feedback that we're hearing. Like, that is why we're here today. It's to hear your feedback, to continue to grow with you and offer solutions like this as we expand into the marketplace and hopefully, turn all of our partners into cutting edge sort of CRAs in the same way that we're thinking about being who Tessera is today. So very excited to share all of that for you today. That concludes the sort of the talking points for the discussion. And now we'd like to just run a quick poll for you.
With that, we are coming up on time. Thank you all to everyone who joined today. Thanks again to our amazing speakers. Thank you to Kristen Cook, who was answering so many of your awesome questions behind the scenes on chat. As a reminder, we will be sharing out the full recording and a written recap on our blog to everyone who registered next week. Keep a lookout for that in your inbox. Welcome you to stay in touch with our team via our website, tesseradata.com. You can find a lot of our older resources there, learn more about all the products we covered today, and always have the opportunity to hit contact us if you want to connect with our team at a later date. So with that, enjoy the rest of your morning, your afternoon. Would hope to see you on a future event. Thanks again for joining, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.